Welcome to the She Births Show, a place to inspire your birth, evolve your parenting, and help you live a life you love. I'm Nadine Richardson, your host and creator of the scientifically verified birth education program, She Births. I'm also a mother, yoga teacher, doula, author, and speaker. At She Births, we have supported thousands of families around the world for over 13 years with our unique program, and our vision is to make birth better for every family around the world so that everyone experiences a beautiful birth no matter what unfolds. Not only do we help people have beautiful births, but we also give them the skills and the philosophy to enjoy pregnancy and make parenting easier. As well as our world-class birth ed, taken either face-to-face or online, in our app, we also have a free pregnancy guide designed to help you feel calm, connected, and inspired as you and your baby grow. We have a doula matching service, the perfect way to ensure you and your partner are completely supported throughout the whole journey. And we have our Soul Mama Circles, which are the perfect postpartum network to help optimize your mindset and design your life in parenthood. Remember, if you like what you hear today, subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. If you're a parent, about to be one, fellow health professional, join us now for an inspirational deep dive into topics with experts around the globe. We hope you enjoy this special episode. Today's podcast is a beautiful story of love, magic, loss, and ecstasy. Lauren Godfrey-Love and Lauren Fitzgerald-Love, both meditation teachers, share the story of their daughter's birth, Goldie, and all the magical moments that led up to her arrival. This is much more than a birth story. We talk about conceiving during COVID across multiple borders with Goldies Dad, Lauren G's mum passing away during pregnancy and the inclusion of her spirit at the birth. We discuss how a partner's fear and distress can arise during birth from their own birthing imprints. Talk about the benefit of working with skilled midwives to help malposition during labour, getting great postpartum support when family and friends are not around, Maori traditions, soul mama circles, and more. I really hope you enjoy the story as much as I did. I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate this Mother's Day than with a double mama family like Lauren G and Lauren F. They are just amazing, and I'm so grateful. Welcome to the She Births Show. It's so lovely to have you both, all three of you. Goldie tucked away down there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
How are you both?
We're good. We had a really good sleep last night, so we're feeling pretty good.
And happy wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number one.
Yes, we've made it so far.
You have. I mean, first year of marriage, and now I think we always need a trophy that first year of child rearing as well. It's a big, intense, escalating curve of learning. So, yeah, it's a wild ride. It's awesome. How many weeks in are you now? How old is little Goldie?
She was 10 weeks on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, she's only 10 weeks. It's so cute. Well, Lauren and Lauren, thanks for coming on and for sharing your story. For those people who are just tuning in, maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do, and maybe a bit about your background, your love story as well, how you ended up here, holding a 10-year-old in your arms.
Well, I'm Lauren G, and we just say Lauren G and Lauren F because that helps our people in our lives to know who we are. And we're both Vedic meditation teachers. We met through meditation just over 3 years ago, actually. And do you want to? I'm not even really sure where to start. We met on an Indian retreat in India with our teacher Tom Knowles. I think you were actually there, Nadine.
No, the 2021. No, is that when you met?
No, the year before.
The year before. Yeah.
Were you there in 2019?
I was there in the January 2020, just before COVID hit, that abundance retreat. Yeah, it was so good.
The COVID retreat. Lauren had actually applied to become a teacher with Tom, our teacher, and I'm one of the course leaders on that teacher training. Well, I have been. And so I'd interviewed her because there's an interview process that we go through for teachers to apply. And it was interesting because, when we first met, like via that interview, I was quite hangry and tired and ready to get the interview over and done with and get my dinner into me. And so we had an exchange, and she was approved to go on to the teacher training, and we went on retreat. And over the course of, well, I'll let you share that, over the course of 10 days, you kind of fell in love with me.
I fell in love with Lauren G long before that retreat, actually.
Wow.
It's looking back that I realized that was happening.
Aww.
But I couldn't tell you why. There was, I can tell you what I love about her so much now, but
yes,
it was just an unexpected attraction to someone I hadn't even met yet, not in person.
Wow.
And we really got to meet for the first time on retreat. And I started to recognize this feeling as love, this attraction that I'd felt for some time for someone I didn't know. It felt suspiciously like love, and it didn't make sense. It was completely illogical, but it was also something that couldn't be ignored. And that feeling became clearer over the course of the retreat. It became fonder and fonder. And then from the retreat, we moved into the teacher training that I was a participant on, which was 3 months in India. And as Lauren G mentioned, she was one of the course leaders on that retreat. So it was a complicating time on the inside for me. It would
have been so hard because you're not really allowed to sort of be entertaining romance, and you're not meant to trust those feelings either, are you? Because you're all in this bliss consciousness state and like meeting in this sort of astral planes. It's sort of, I've seen it happen on retreats, been there, done that.
Exactly. Alarm bells.
Yeah.
And I was certainly not in India to fall in love. I was in India to become a teacher and expand my consciousness. And so this was sort of untimely for my individuality. And it was something that on paper I needed to suppress and squash down and ignore to get on with the business of study. But it was impossible nature wouldn't let me ignore the feelings. So they were there, they were shelved, no action was taken. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, and then I came back for the last 2 weeks of teacher training. I really liked Lauren when I was the course leader. I really enjoyed her. There was a real sweetness about her. And I remember asking the initiator training assistant, another teacher who was there, I said, do you think Lauren might be gay? And she was like, I don't know. And we just kind of left it at that. And I got to the end. I came back from New Zealand for the last 2 weeks of the training to help Tom graduate them. And I just started to have thoughts about Lauren. Like I was like, oh, she's got really lovely arms, and she's got such nice hair, and she's so tall, and I wish I was tall like that. Not really understanding the thoughts I was having or the feelings I was having, because I'd never been with a woman before. I'd always been with men. never really entertained the idea. I've joked many times about how I think it would be easier to be in a relationship with a woman, because, you know, sometimes men can be a bit challenging depending on your experience. But, you know, I didn't recognize these thoughts and feelings as attraction or desire or anything like that. And I spent 2 weeks there kind of becoming a bit obsessive, like, with she and what was she doing? You know, really confused, and then started thinking, oh no, this is just, like you said, the retreat bliss kind of stress release. I'm just having these thoughts, I'm getting sucked into it. It's not me, it's them, you know, like, and just really struggling. And I remember looking through her Facebook photos and going, is she a lesbian? Like, does she look like a lesbian? Are there any other girls that she's hanging out with? And then I was like, do I look like a lesbian? So I went through my Facebook page and I was like looking, I was like, yeah, I could pass for a lesbian. And then I was like looking at all my friends, I'm like, but they could too. I'm like, what does a lesbian even look like? I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Like, just these crazy obsessed thoughts. And it basically culminated in her graduating, because remembering that I'm like a course leader, it's wildly inappropriate to like hit on one of the students. But she graduated and I wasn't even going to do anything. We'd developed a bond. I'd invited her to come to New Zealand and to assist me with my teaching so that she could get some, you know, in-person training and what it's like to be a teacher. And you know, I'd said, why don't you come to Bali? And I was on my way to Bali on the way home and we can chat about it. And in my mind, I'm like thinking, I wonder if we can get a room together, and maybe it'll accidentally be like a queen bed instead of 2 singles. And I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me?
Wow.
And she graduated, and I really honestly feel that I had one of those out-of-body experiences where the universe was moving me into action rather than me, little individual me, making the decision. And they'd graduated. We had 2 more days on initiated training to go. We were going to meet Maharaji and have him bless their graduation and approve them as teachers. And he's like the, you know, he's like the king of the yogis in India, and he plays a role in their teacher training. And anyway, we'd finished. I'd gone to meditate. We were going to have dinner, and I was in my meditation, completely distracted with thoughts about her. Came down. I was like, just go and sit with her at dinner, and it will just quell the, you know, these thoughts, these pesky thoughts. It was kind of like my Rameshwaram, if anyone knows that story. So I saw an empty plate of food, and I was like, that must be her. Everyone else is here. And I sat down, and it ended up being our Scottish friend Billy, and he was chatting away to me, and it was like he was speaking Ewok or something. It was just like I couldn't even listen to him.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and suddenly he's mid-conversation. Apparently I was supposed to be helping him with something, answer some questions he needed help with. And I just looked at him and I said, I have to go. And I stood up and I just walked out of the dinner room, and I went and found her, and I said, I need to talk to you. And I had this really serious look on my face, and she thought she was being told that she's no longer, we made a mistake. In trouble. You know, you're not allowed to graduate. Allowed to teach. And I said, I brought her into my room, and this whole time I really felt like I was barely there. It felt like something really holy was taking place. And we went and sat on the bed in my room, and I said, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you because if you want to come to Bali with me, I need to be honest with you. And that is that I'm having feelings for you, and they're not teacher-student feelings, they're romantic feelings. And I just thought I better tell you that before you come. And then I just stopped. And then suddenly it was like I came back into my body, and I was like, what have you done? Oh my God. I was like, oh my God. And then Lauren, bless her, is very thoughtful and will take her time to always find the right words. That's one of her beautiful traits. But she took an extraordinarily long time, like literally 5 minutes before she did anything. And I'm not exaggerating, because 5 minutes is a long time.
Wow, that's a really long time.
She did look at me at one point and put her hand on my hand and like go, oh, like this. And I thought, oh my God, I've totally made a mistake. She doesn't feel this way for me. And
basically I told her, I feel the same way, in a very long, elaborate way of saying that.
Yeah. And
And
then I was like, oh my God, now like we might have to kiss, and I've never kissed a girl. What if I don't like
Oh my God.
So it was a very, we're giving you such a long-winded story of this.
I love it.
But anyway, it was and we kissed and it was fine. And it was good. And from there, like, I mean, it was just like nature had put us together, and we kind of feel like nature put us together.
Totally.
This baby, you know.
Look at it. Look how fast it's all just flowed.
Fast.
Within 3 days of that moment that Lauren just described, we had told one another that we loved each other. We told one another we'd like to marry, we'd like to have children together. We went to Bali off the back of India, where it really felt like we spent 5 days in this private bliss bubble where we got to do things in reverse. And that was to start to learn who we'd just fallen in love with.
Yeah. Totally.
Rather than learn that first and then realize, oh, this is love.
Yeah.
We fell in love, and then we've been learning ever since who one another is. And within a very short space of time, we came straight back, introduced one another to our families
straight away.
And this is two women. I had been in same-sex relationships before, but I had no intention of going back to that until Lauren G came along. So it was really unexpected for us and for families.
Yeah.
But we felt like we were in such flow that we just launched straight out into the world as a couple, and were welcomed with open arms by all, including our beautiful families. And I relocated almost immediately from Sydney, which was my home, to Auckland. And we were engaged by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And married when COVID allowed that to happen a year ago today.
Yeah.
Which was after we married on the anniversary of that moment that we've just described.
Oh. Wow.
And we eloped because, I think elopement sounds, we decided to marry just with the two of us and two of our friends who are now Goldie's godparents, New Zealand godparents. She has some Australian godparents as well. We like to add in lots of people.
Totally.
And it's been an amazing time. And within a month of our wedding, we were pregnant.
Wow.
So we had decided that we wanted kids really early on. And we'd investigated lots of different options, including in Sydney, we saw some fertility specialists, a lovely, lovely lady, Dr. Bronwyn Devine, who was just wonderful. She recommended that we try cryobank. Am I saying it right? Cryobank? I always get it wrong. For a sperm donor. And we went online, and for us personally, as a same-sex couple, we did have a grieving process and not being able to have each other's biology involved in the making of a baby. And we did kind of explore the idea of how we might make that happen, but it just did not feel charming to us in any way. So we went to the cryobank, and we just personally, and every couple was different, we felt like for us, it felt like Tinder for sperm, and it was just like not appealing at all. And we felt we don't know who these people are, we don't know how they live, how they treat their bodies, what their personality traits are. And we just got very turned off the idea. And so we were, okay, we've got to find another option. And so one day I just felt very charmed. I was in a cafe, I was doing some work, and I got onto Facebook and I went through every single male friend on my Facebook list, which is pretty long. And suddenly came across this person.
And you were looking for potential donors.
Potential donors, yeah. I was like,
friends.
who's gonna, yeah. And
why not? I mean, that makes total sense.
Yeah. And then I stumbled across this person and I was like, of course, who else could it possibly be other than this guy? And so our very dear friend Ross, who lives in Sydney, was the person. And we'd actually met him on retreat. I'd met him a year before, but it was the first year you'd met him.
I'd met him at group meditation.
Oh, had you? Okay.
Yeah. But so, we didn't know one another well.
Yeah. And such a lovely guy, slightly older than us, a gay man, beautiful, sweet energy, been meditating for 30 years or so, 35 years, I think. And I rang Lauren and I said, I found our donor. And she said, who is it? And I said, Ross. And she goes, oh my God, of course. I said, okay, I'm going to ask him. She's like, what? I was like, come on, let's just ask him. So I rang him, I think. And he's like, hello, darling, how are you? And I said, great. And I said, do you want to be our donor? And he was like, yeah, absolutely.
Wow. He didn't even need to like say, oh, give me a night or so to think about it. No, he just knew. How beautiful.
Yeah. And he also said, would I be able to meet the baby? Could I be involved in some way? And that took me aback a little bit because at that stage we were still feeling like, no, we want a donor. And rather than a dad. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure that will come and visit and you'll get to meet her and all that sort of thing. And so we started this process of going, okay, when are we going to do this and how will we do it? And then I started having this feeling that it was really interesting. I bought this pregnancy book, Sacred Beginnings, I think it's called, about 10 years ago. Never read it. Suddenly felt the urge to pick it up, picked it up, opened it, and it talked about the importance, the role the father plays in a child's life. And it was very beautiful the way that they described it. And I honestly didn't read any other part of that book, but it was just the page I opened to it. And I suddenly had this real deep connection with this future child, feeling like I want this man to be part of my life, not just as a donor, but as a parent. And I sat with it for a few weeks because I was nervous about approaching Lauren with it because she'd been feeling the same way as me. We just want a donor, not a dad. And then I said, I've got to confess something to you. I'm having these really strong feelings. And she said, oh my God, I'm so glad because I've just started having the same feelings.
Wow.
And so we went back to Ross and we said, look, we've been talking and we actually really feel that we want you to play a real active parenting role. We'd like you to be dad, not donor. And he was like, amazing. I'm in 100%, very excited about it.
Wow.
And so then I think I'd been very keen to give birth.
Yeah.
So we did talk about it and Lauren was really happy for me to go first.
Yeah.
And that year that we went to India on the same retreat as you was the first time we were all going to be together
with Ross.
Oh, right.
And so we'd thought about doing IVF, we'd thought about doing IUI, but I didn't really want to do the hormonal stuff if we didn't have to, because like with all the drugs and things, because we'd been tested and I knew that my mum had given birth to my little brother when she was 44.
Wow.
And I had this feeling that I'd probably not have any challenges with fertility because of that. I kind of just had a feeling, and we went and got tested and it looked really positive, the results. And so I thought, why don't we just try this without using any reproductive technology?
Take it.
Yeah. And we were very, very fortunate to be able to do that. We found a thing called Mosey Kit. Mosey Baby, sorry.
Wow.
And this little kit that's a specially designed syringe. So instead of the turkey baster, you actually have something proper that works. And we timed the ovulation. We were doing all the checking, the temperature, the cervical fluid.
But we were also really simple about it. We weren't calculated.
Yeah, we were very relaxed.
There wasn't a lot of effort applied.
Yeah.
It was a relaxed way.
Yeah. And then we were in...
Was this in Rishikesh?
We were in Bali on our way to India, where we were meeting up with Ross. Yeah.
Right. So like December 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We flew. I was like, we were in our last couple of days in Bali, and I said, I think I'm ovulating. Like, we need to get to India. But we didn't rush. We messaged Ross and said, you know, when we meet up in Delhi, that's when we're going to have to do it, because
wow.
Yeah. We were like,
Delhi. Most hygienic city in the world.
So we landed, and he landed like maybe an hour before us, and we both went to our separate hotels, and then we said, come over. And we thought he was going to come over and maybe use our bedroom, and we'd go like have some tea in the hotel restaurant or something. But he just shows up, and he's a very funny guy, and he goes, hello darlings, we open the door, hello darlings, here you go. And he'd already done it.
Oh my God.
And he gave it to us, and I was like, oh my God, we've got to do this thing now. And, you know, he'd been tested, done all the stuff, and so had we. And so we used the Mosey kit and legs up the wall. And then we were in India. We went up to Rishikesh for the retreat, and we all got sick. And the Rajus were there, our Ayurvedic doctors, and they checked my pulse, and they said, yes, you're pregnant.
Wow.
Week. And because you're sick, and because of some of the supplements, I didn't realize I was taking, what's that thing called?
Wormwood. Yeah, the antiparasitic one.
I had no idea that it was bad for like when you're pregnant. And so then I bled basically after and so it was quite a challenging time. But then COVID hit, and we couldn't do anything.
Wow.
And we were back home in New Zealand, and we waited and waited and waited. And we were quite happy and patient to wait. Like we weren't thinking about it.
It was just like there was this pause in proceedings, in trying to get pregnant.
Yeah. And then Ross rang us one day. He rang me actually, and he said, hi, so I had a dream last night, and this is all very spiritual. And he said, I had a dream last night, and there was a baby that came to me and said, you need to get a move on. You need to make this happen. You need to make this happen. And so he rang me, and he said, you know, let's make it happen. And I'm like, but how are we going to do it? Because we can't travel to each other's countries. And he said, let's do IVF. And we were like, you know, COVID had been really challenging financially for us, and we're like, we can't afford it. And he was like, I'll pay for it, I've just had some money come in. And we were just like blown away by his generosity. But then we didn't need it, so we looked into how we were going to get his sperm with the clinic, and that was going to mean that you have to wait, I think, 6 months before you're allowed to use it when you use a donor in New Zealand. So someone can donate, but you give the sperm donor like 6 months to change their mind, I think, and also get the sperm tested
and frozen and shipped.
It was going to be a while. And then suddenly the borders opened up between Australia and New Zealand, and we were like, okay, let's have a look. And I was like, well, my period's due here, and I guess I'll probably be ovulating around here. I'll just book a flight for then. We happened to be moving into a new house. Lauren, bless her, moved us by herself with the movers, but it was a big job. I flew off to Sydney, had her parents pick me up from the airport. And they'd known that we were trying, the reason I was coming without Lauren was because we were trying to get pregnant, and they know Ross and love him. And I was staying with Ross, which we stay with him usually when we come to Sydney anyway. And
you're only there a few days, weren't you? 4 days?
Yeah. And they said, are we allowed to ask who the donor is? And I was like, I think you know. And they're like, is it Ross? And we were like, yes. And they were like, yeah. And I was so excited because they love him. And I showed up and I said, oh my God, I think I'm ovulating. Like, and we'd had some time because we knew that this was going to happen. We'd had like maybe a few weeks or a month or something. And I'd been taking some Ayurvedic medicine and herbs, and been chatting to one of the doctors. And it was quite amazing actually, because I messaged them and said that we're going to try, and they're like, let us check the Jyotish times. So the
astrology, the Vedic astrology.
And they said, okay, this is the time that we want you to do it, between this time and this time. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like trying to keep my eyes open because it's like midnight in New Zealand. And we're going to give you a special mantra, and we want you to listen to it 7 times. And it was a very beautiful mantra. It was specifically for us. And Ross needs to listen to it 7 times before he does his part. And then you need to listen to it 7 times before you do your part. And we did that. And then we did it again the next day just to be sure. And then on the 3rd day, I found ovulation fluid in my underwear again. And I was like, I think we should try a 3rd time. Yeah. So we did that, and we didn't do it with the astrology time. We just did it off the back. Ross came home from work, and there we did it. We listened to the mantra, and that time I hadn't bothered with checking my ovulation, apart from, it was obvious that it had happened. I wasn't doing temperature. I was like, I'm not doing any of that. I just feel like we just need to go in and nature will tell us what we need to do. Like, I'm not doing any checking. And got home. Actually, COVID locked our border while I was there. And I was like, I just knew that it was going to be fine, that we'd get back. And got back and took a pregnancy test on the first day of my missed period, and it was positive. And I honestly, even though everything seemed to be working like towards this beautiful thing, was in shock, like absolute shock. And you were over the moon and so excited, and I was just like, had my jaw on the floor for about 2 hours, like, oh my God.
I just couldn't believe that it had happened, and so smoothly. But we also were not surprised at the same time. This really odd, of course this was going to work, and yet how on earth did this work?
So that was our conception, and sure enough, got really sick, got nauseous. I was really unwell for 18 weeks. By week 18, starting to feel a lot better and be able to get back into teaching again, ready to hit the road, go hard, make as much money, teach as many students, get them all zhuzhed up before I wasn't going to be there for 6 months on maternity leave. And we hit the road to head down to Wellington, and literally the whole country locked down, and we had to turn around and drive back to Auckland, and we were in lockdown till the end of our pregnancy. So it was I had a lot of grief around not being able to share this pregnancy experience with my family and friends. But it was a blessing in disguise, because I rested so much through my pregnancy. I tend to work really hard when I can, and I was just forced to rest. And I think it's a really great thing for the baby and for us. And but it was sad, like we didn't have a baby shower, we didn't get to see anybody, we were at home all the time. And
you didn't get to share this big beautiful belly with people molecule to molecule. So there was a loss there, but the rest was such a gift.
It was, because I know that I would have probably overdone it, actually. Nature kind of forced that on me. And then when I was about 30 weeks, my mum went into hospital. She went into ICU, and it might have been a bit later than, I can't really remember, 32 weeks. And we were in lockdown. The rest of the country wasn't. It was just Auckland. And it was a bit of a shock. We knew she wasn't well. She'd been kind of saying to us for the last few weeks that she wasn't well. And we'd been trying to get her to go to the doctor. She loves her natural stuff, and she doesn't like doctors. And, you know, things had really gotten bad. And I had been trying to get my little brother and my other brother, who weren't in lockdown, to get her to the doctor. And they hadn't been able to manage it. And my sister-in-law said, why don't you just call an ambulance, because then she'll be forced to go. And I was like, no, that's so dramatic. And then my little brother Liam went in one morning, and she was very, very unwell. And he said, Mum, I'm going to have to call an ambulance. And they picked her up, and she was in hospital, and they hadn't even told us that she was in ICU. They just said, oh, Mum's in hospital. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to see if I can get an exemption to come down. And I said, Liam, I can get an exemption, but it sounds like she has to be so sick that she's almost dying. Like, I was kind of scared to say it. And he said, that's where we're at. And I was so shocked. I was like, what is happening? Can you please get the doctor to ring me? Because he's young, you know, he's 20 years old at the time. And they rang me, and they just said, your mum's gone into organ failure, her kidneys are failing, her heart's failing, you need to get her. And we just started teaching a course. Mid-course. We're teaching outside under our gazebos. And
just stand up with her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Give her a jiggle.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I said to the nurse, it was a Friday, I said, do you think it'll be okay to come on Sunday? And she said, no, I think you should come today. And I was just like, oh my God, wow, what is going on? And so we managed to scramble and get the exemptions. We couldn't leave till Saturday because we needed negative COVID tests, and it takes time to get the results. And we went down and we went in, and I couldn't believe it when I saw my mum. She was in ICU. And she was very sick, and the doctors were saying, you know, it's just going to be a matter of days before she passes. But as is often the case, I think when family rally around someone, she kind of perked up.
Yeah.
And she started to improve. But she'd always said to us, I don't want to live a quality of life that means that I'm going to be sick and in a hospital bed or in a coma or anything. You know, I don't want you to try and maintain that kind of living for me. And so we talked with the doctors and said, can you just end all the care apart from pain relief, because she's ready to go. And we were there by her bedside for about 10 days, and then she passed. And it was a beautiful time, really beautiful. We had a really wonderful, happy family time together. My brothers were there, our partners, my nieces. And I got her to do a little video message for Goldie, which I haven't been brave enough to watch since. She hadn't managed to get Goldie anything. I'd asked her to make a quilt. She was a quilter, and she hadn't been able to do that because she'd been too sick, and she'd kind of hidden it from us. And it was also hard because I think she disengaged a little bit from my pregnancy, especially at the end, because I think she knew that if she really engaged in it and thought about it, then she might try to stay. And she didn't want that. She really wanted to go. So we all gave her our blessing to go, and then she died. And it was hard because I think I had a few things pop up physically for me in my pregnancy at that point. I had my left leg swell up, and we thought it might be a DVT. And my mum had DVTs in her pregnancy. And so I had to go and get scanned. And because I'd come from Auckland, everyone was terrified of us Aucklanders because that's where COVID was contained in the country at the time. And so I was shunted into this weird waiting room and corridor and got a scan, and everything was fine. And then I started to experience all this pain.
Wow.
And the maternity ward there were amazing. They knew that I was there because mum wasn't well, and they just looked after us, and they were so sweet, and they did lots of monitoring. And I think emotionally I was just holding on. And so I got constipated. I had a lot of gas. I had a lot of Braxton Hicks, and baby's just getting nappy changed.
Oh, he's all right, Goldie. I know, he's so horrible. Taking his undies off and all the air on your bottom. So hard. And now for a quick break. At She Births, the mother is at the centre of everything we do. We believe that birth and matrescence is a sacred rite of passage, and we believe that the journey is unique for everyone. Wherever you are in your journey, She Births is here to support you. Starting with our free pregnancy guide, which offers you 6 months of weekly support. You will receive nourishment for body, mind, and soul via your inbox and engage with content within our free app. Enjoy yoga videos, recipes, birth affirmations, course discounts, and so much more to help you feel calm, connected, and inspired for birth. Sign up online to our free pregnancy guide on our website, shebirths.com, and download our free app today in any app store.
So yeah, it was full on, but then mum passed, and then we had the service, which we organised ourselves. She said, I don't want you wearing black. I want it to be a happy occasion. I want you to celebrate and just have fun. And I don't want it to be in a church. I want it to be somewhere with a beautiful view of the ocean. And we managed all of those things, and we managed to keep within the COVID limits of, I can't remember how many it was, and then a few days later, I just had this massive release. Like, it was like my body finally let go, and it was so good. And the pain just stopped, and we came back to Auckland, back to lockdown again. And then Omicron came. And so because we were concerned, because I was pregnant and pregnant women are, more susceptible, we stayed in lockdown even when Auckland finally came out of lockdown. So really did have a lockdown pregnancy. And we'd decided to have a home birth. Right from the word go. Lauren wasn't so sure about it to start with, but then she had family friends that had always home birthed and realized, I don't know why I'm feeling unsure about this. And so our beautiful midwife, who only really works with LGBTQ plus families, was just wonderful and was able to do that, and was a great support to me. I had a really interesting thing happened to me. Basically, once I became pregnant, became very worried all the time. My mind was just constantly concerned about all the things. And I think it happens probably to a lot of women, but it was a new experience.
Google just feeds off it.
She banned me from Googling. We bought a Doppler. I was like, we need to check.
You bought a Doppler.
I bought a Doppler. And our midwife was like rolling her eyes. She's like, that's not it, that's, you need to ring me if you're concerned. I'm like, okay. So we did that. I did that. And I have always had this weird, where has it come from, fear of childbirth since I was a baby, like since I was a kid. Ever since I can remember thinking about childbirth, I've been terrified of it. And just no idea where that's come from, other than probably feeling like it was imprinted, from maybe my mum's birth, or maybe it's an ancestral thing in our biology. What's that science called? I can't remember what it's called. where those memories are there in your body.
In the epigenetics, like
epigenetics, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember Mum ever telling me any terrifying stories of birth. I don't remember seeing anything terrifying, but for some reason I was so scared. And so I knew we'd chatted many times before, you and I, about childbirth and our shared passion about supporting mums. And I knew that I was going to do she births, and kind of had really wanted to come to Australia and do it with you personally. But actually it was a bit of a blessing doing it online, because I was so overwhelmed by childbirth, and I don't usually feel fearful about anything in my life. I'm quite, not trying to big myself up, but I really don't feel fear a lot of the time about things. I'm very kind of a fearless person around many things, but for some reason this thing was the thing that really gripped me. And we watched it the first day, the online course, and after half an hour I was like, okay, that's all I can manage today.
She had to microdose.
I microdosed.
Yeah, you were microing.
So we did it like half an hour.
When did we start?
We felt like we were quite late, and we were like, we should have started earlier, but we did it at the perfect time. It doesn't matter. It was probably at about 36 weeks, maybe or 35 maybe. It wasn't that late, but we probably wished that we'd done it a bit earlier.
We had quite a lot going on.
We did actually, and I think that was probably why. And then it built up, and then we started looking forward to it, and then it became let's do some she births. Like, we just loved it. And although the unknowing of what birth would be like and the kind of nervousness around it didn't go ever until after she'd come, I didn't feel that same way. And I was like, I can do this. And one of the things that was really important to us was having some really good support. And when I was with Mum at her deathbed, that's such a weird word to use, sorry, when she was dying, Mum's best friend had driven up from Wellington and had been there. She just dropped her whole life and came to be with us.
Yeah.
She thinks it's very funny, Goldie.
And
I just realized that I needed her to be at the birth.
Wow.
And I asked her, would you come? And she said, yeah, because we hadn't organized a doula. We wanted a doula, but we felt like we'd left it really late.
Yeah.
And I thought,
we really learned the power and importance of a doula via the She Births course.
Yeah.
By then we're into the late 30 weeks, and we were like, are we going to be able to find one, and the right one?
Yeah.
So we didn't end up, did we?
No, we didn't.
But we got the next best thing, which was Megan.
And she was like the mum that I needed, that mum energy I needed there. And she was also connected to my mum, and it just, she's a beautiful lady, and you just feel wrapped up in her hugs. And she was so excited and so thrilled to be asked. And we also asked a friend of ours, Bri, who was amazing, and she came for 2 weeks actually, and so the two of them were here in the house, and we had
they were living in your house waiting for the day.
It felt like this amazing kind of village of beautiful, exciting people, and we had a lot of fun. And I was very comfortable in my third trimester. Like I couldn't walk for ages, but we'd go for a little walk every day, and we made eggplant parmigiana and it worked. We had a dinner that night. Megan had made it, and I had some aches overnight, then some very minor contractions at like 3 a.m, and Megan woke up because she could hear us, and three of us were excited talking. Do you think it's happening? And then it kind of faded, and I said, I think it's faded, so let's go back to sleep. And we did. And nothing happened. And then at lunch we had parmigiana again. In the night we had a little snooze, and we woke up from the snooze probably it was a late snooze, and it was about 6:40 or something in the evening. And I started to feel like little, movements. And then one of the things that I'd asked Mum earlier on, before I knew she was unwell, when I was chatting to her on the phone, was, can you tell me about your births?
Wow.
I need to know, like, I want to know everything. Like, I was asking everyone about everything. And that was like a fear thing. But she told me, all of you were really quick. And she said, I did the antenatal course, and they said that it'll build up slowly and you'll get
pardon.
That's a good farty.
Pardon.
You can always blame it on a baby. But that was her. And Mum said, they said that it would take ages, but I started and my contractions were 5 minutes apart, and you were born 5 hours later.
Yeah.
Then your brother was born 3 hours later. And my youngest brother, that induced her because she was older. The obstetrician wanted her to, it was basically Boxing Day and he wanted to go on holiday. So they had to induce her. And so I, in my mind, had decided that I would have a birth like my mum. And I'd been told that people who often birth like their mothers. Yeah. And I think it would have been, I'd so fixed on that in my mind, I think it would have been a real shock if it hadn't been a quick labor, but it was.
Wow.
I went from just a few kind of random contractions to an hour later being 3 and 10,
Awesome.
contractions of 1 minute and
yeah.
Is it 10? Oh,
yeah. About 2.5 minutes apart. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
And because it was so quick, and because I hadn't had any kind of real proper lead up time, I was like thinking, I'm like at the start of like 12 hours maybe. And I'm like, if this is the sensation, I'm not going to be able to handle childbirth. And also I probably hadn't had time to build up the endorphins. We love that part of like she births as well, understanding all of that. We hadn't had really time to do any of the practices. We'd just been hanging around. Megan and Bride taken our dogs for a walk, and Lauren had to ring them and say, I think you need to come back. I think we need to fill the birth pool, and I think we need your help. And we were just bouncing around, and we hadn't done any of the she birth practices. And actually, apart from the breathing, we didn't end up doing any of them, but we were so grateful that we had them, like that we knew what they were.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I'm not going to be able to handle this. I need to go to the hospital. I need to have a
epidural.
Baby brain. And so Lauren rang the midwife.
I texted her. Texted her. I had been texting her the timings of the contractions. I was really shocked at how
fast it was all going.
And I was texting her, keeping her up to date. And then when we really had some consistency of the 3 and 10 minutes, I texted her again and was like, I told her, Lauren, she's getting a little negative in the things that she's saying, and she hadn't been. She said she wants to go to the hospital, but she can't do it. It was sort of like a line in the sand I was aware of when she starts saying, I can't do it, that we're progressing. And I wanted the midwife to understand we're at that point already.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, what time was this? 10:30 at night? She said, okay, great. Well, I'm going to go to bed. You let me know when it's time. And I was horrified because I thought my text would be enough to get her in the car and speeding her way over here because a baby's about to arrive. And instead she tells me she's going to bed. And now I had to relay that information to Lauren G, which was a challenge. So I got on the phone I did relay it to
I think
you.
she rang you. Yeah, you did. And I was like,
oh no, that's right. I replied to Arlene. I said, can you just remind me, how will I know when it's time? Because I thought it was time.
I'm feeling it. Yeah.
So she rang me straight away and she said, would Lauren G like me to come and just do a check? And then, I can go home if it's appropriate. She doesn't live far from us. And if not, well, I can stay and we'll get going with it. And you were very happy with that approach, weren't you? So Arlene came. And do you want to talk about the way you greeted her?
She said to us previously that, oh no, she's not.
She said during one of our checkups, you'd said to Arlene, I might get a little bit crazy during the labor and say things that I think I want that I don't ultimately want.
Yeah.
How we sort of go, how are you going to manage me during that time? And Arlene said,
she's like, I'm not going to believe you in the middle of a contraction that you want an epidural. I'm going to see how you're feeling outside of it. And so she walked in on the night when you were in there, and she walked in and I just looked at her and I said, I've asked 3 times in between contractions that I could put an epidural. But she said, would you just like me to check you? And we decided that we didn't want to be checked, but I knew that I might want to be checked once. Like, we hadn't been checked the whole way through pregnancy. I didn't want to stretch and sweep, didn't want any of that stuff, because, when I'd previously been to get a smear test and stuff, I just found that I closed up a lot after experiences, and I didn't want to have that through birth. And so she did a check and she said, you're 5 centimeters dilated and your cervix is very, very thin and soft, and I could easily stretch you to 8, and the baby's head's right there. And I was disappointed because I thought surely I should be a 10.
I know this is the problem, the fixation. I have to make another video in She Births about like descent is more important than dilation, but that number, people love the centimeters and there's an obsession with that. It's really hard for the mind not to attach onto that. But the head being low and the thinness is more important than 5.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't.
And your emotional state, the kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't know that. And all I knew was it felt very intense. And if it was going to keep going at this rate, and it was needed to get worse, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to handle it. But she said, do you want to get in the pool? Because at that point I was using, what's it called? The buzzy things?
The TENS machine.
The buzzy.
Honestly, your brain.
Grey matter shrinks. It does. Oh, Goldie, if you need a break at any point, it's totally fine.
She just likes me to watch her when I'm breastfeeding.
Oh, Mummy, look at me.
And to be quiet. Yeah. So I got in the pool and literally, I think within half an hour, I needed to push.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I lay,
and up until that point, watching her labor, I doubted that we were in labor at all, because she was doing it so easily on the outside. I couldn't detect challenge in her. She was calm, she was inner, she was doing her breathing. She looked peaceful from
yes.
And that's not what we
well, that's right. The inner experience is often different to how it, appears. It's pretty wild in there, that conversation in the head and the intensity in the body.
She was just managing so well. And would you say it's sort of not what we expected you to be like when there was strong physical sensation being experienced?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I was concerned about was just really like, I was worried that my mind wasn't going to cope. Like I felt like, I think I can handle the physical side of it. It's just, what if I panic? And what if I feel like I can't do it anymore? That's the thing. I just felt like I was worried that my mind wasn't going to persevere through it and just want to, you know, just cut, I don't know, just drop out of the whole experience completely. And in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, this is getting really intense. But I knew from she births that if I kept my face soft, if I did my breathing, that it was going to be less painful. So it wasn't that I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a peaceful birth. Yeah, I'm going to be like a bliss mama. Like, I was just like, to make this less bad,
I will do the work of relaxing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was desperation.
Totally get it. Yeah.
I didn't have any idea that I was going to have some sort of amazing birth. Should we take a little break?
Yeah. What does Goldie need? Whatever Goldie needs.
Some attention.
She needs some attention. Well, should we get up and have a little
stretch?
Do you want to get a cup of tea?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Look, we kind of pause at 1:08. No, it's so big, everything you're sharing as well. Yeah. Like, I'm actually still with your mum.
Yeah, I know.
It's such a big story. Well, why don't we take like a little break? So we're back. We just had a little break. Lauren G has got her special post-birth vitality milky drink. Yay. What's it called? Just in case anyone's listening, you can do a plug for this great product.
Yeah, it's an Australian product. It's called HQ, which I can't remember what that stands for, but it's post-birth vitality, and it's like a powdery drink. It's a Chinese herb medicine thing, but it tastes delicious.
Oh, nice.
And I had a week without it post-birth, and I definitely noticed a change in my hormones.
Really?
I didn't have it, yeah, and I didn't have the baby blue drop after birth, and I was taking it every day. So I do definitely recommend it for anyone. Yeah, I've got no affiliation with them at all.
No.
Like, absolutely think it's amazing. So
good.
Yeah, really balancing.
Beautiful. Thank you. I suppose as we're going to jump back into the birth story, I'm just really quite amazed that you guys managed to stay calm and to process death during pregnancy. So I just want to really acknowledge that as well, because grief and pregnancy don't often go really well together. And it's a really, really tough, I mean, it sounds like there was a beautiful passing for your mum, in a way, very conscious, the ideal, really, of a death doula kind of approach of everyone being engaged with it. I just want to acknowledge as well, it's not always like that for a lot of mums, and the ones that I notice who go through grief during pregnancy, it can sometimes play out as birth trauma as well, because it's so hard. It's just almost impossible to process during the pregnancy.
Yeah, and I was really concerned about that
right.
I was really worried that I would get to the labor and I'd just be like, I can't do this. Like, I need my mum here.
Yeah, right. That's great. I really was wondering that, like how you related to your mum during the labor and what you felt.
You know, I'd said to mum, you know, the first day when they took her off all of the medication, I said, I wish that you could be there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And she said, you'll be able to do it. She kind of almost was dismissive of me. Of course you can do it, you know. And I think, again, that was her having to disengage a bit in order to pass. And she said, I'll be there. And I think by having Megan there, my mum's best friend, it felt like it just felt like she was there. And right at the beginning, when Megan had come back from the walking the dogs, I said, Megan, can you get the photo of mum? And we had a moment where we hugged and we cried. And then from there on in, I think the quickness of it, the quickness of the labor just pulled me in. And I really, at one point, Arlene, our midwife, there was a lot going on in the room. The dogs were in here. In our meditation studio, like we'd made it into I called it the birth suite. There were like 100 images. And one of the things that had happened was I was so sad about not connecting, having that connection before the labor, not being able to connect with my friends. They'd sent me this beautiful box, which had all of these affirmations and words of encouragement and like just beautiful. Even their kids had written things like, babies need to eat lots of vegetables, just like the sweetest thing.
You'd say the bestest things. Can I add one? Literally, I was running the Soul Mama Circle in Mullumbimby last week, and there's a mum there who's about to have her third. And she started writing her affirmations in the morning, and her son, 4-year-old, says, I got one for you. Your vagina will open. That was it's like the best. Like, that's like the best friggin' affirmation to stick up, like above the birth pool. Thanks, little one.
Yeah, I love it.
So cute. Anyway, sorry, go off on the affirmations. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just all of these beautiful words and encouragement. And we kind of laughed about it because in the pool, I had my head on the, I think you've seen the birth photos.
Oh, your photos are so amazing.
Yeah. We were so
awesome.
Those. And I just had my head on the pool facing down in this kind of like Superman pose. Like I didn't move from it pretty much until I was told to move from it, which we'll get to in a minute. But so I didn't actually enjoy any of and I had all of this beautiful, and Lauren had put up fairy lights and it was really magical. But I was just eyes closed, soft face, breathe, do the breathing. So yeah, that had been really helpful having those. And we had a picture of Mum up on the wall and having her there, even though Megan wasn't the primary person, it was Lauren that was there with me. It just really helped knowing she was there. Yeah. And that connection to Mum. But I think the speed of the labor just didn't allow me to go anywhere else. And asked me, are you okay? There's a lot going on in this room. We had the photographer, we had the 2 midwives, we had our 2 support people and Lauren and the dogs. And sometimes the dogs were being very funny, apparently. And I don't know. And everyone was laughing. And I find myself being pulled out of that kind of intense place that you go to in labor. Yeah. But only very briefly. It happened once or twice and everyone kind of realized and kind of got back into that nice, peaceful, in between contractions, I was cracking jokes and laughing with everyone. Wow. In the contraction, I just needed it to be quiet, and I needed to hold Lauren's hands and on the outside of the pool. We thought she would get in with me, but because of the position I was in, it just didn't end up that way. And she'd said, do you want everyone to leave? And I said, no, I want everyone here. I'm okay. I can stay focused. And she was really impressed with that, because she said often it can send people off. It can really derail a birth, what the energy of the room's doing. But it was a beautiful energy. And I had this urge to push. One of the things that I really enjoyed was this roaring that came out of me. Oh, it's so good. I was slightly embarrassed by it, I kept asking for reassurance. Am I roaring okay? Am I doing am I doing all the things all right? Like, am I too loud? Am I too loud? Am I too high pitched? Am I low enough? But it was very instinctual, and it wasn't forced. It just came. But there's something so powerful about it that I really enjoyed. I don't know if other mums say that to me, but it was just like, it was quite incredible. And
it's so liberating, right? It's just like, the throat opening, we hold so much tension there, and the cervix opening, like it's all opening, and life, you're just this channel for energy to come through you, this opening for life force, really, for the divine and nature.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'd have the contraction, and then the start of it wasn't great, and I'd be like, oh, in my face, and then I'd have to, soft face. And then the urge to push came, and I said, I think I need to push. And it felt really good. And I said, can I start pushing? And Arlene's like, yes. And it was like, at that stage, this is quite early on, nobody was here yet apart from our two people. And so the birth photographer got called, the extra midwife, all stations go. And it felt like not very long time before Arlene said, I can see the head. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, but I've just started pushing. And she said, you can reach down and touch if you want. And I was kind of scared that I might damage her in some way if I did that. And I felt it, but she was kind of coming in and out, in and out. Yes.
Your waters must have gone then before then. Do you remember the waters breaking or anything like that?
No. I really, because we're in the pool, I don't remember.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't feel.
I did feel at one point, I think there was something. I remember, I think maybe my waters might have broken.
It must have,
minor. It didn't really feel like much at all.
Yep.
And then I was pushing, I guess what felt for us like quite a long time, because Lauren had heard that the head was there. She was really nervous at how long it was taking. She thought something was wrong.
Yeah, right.
Long at the time.
Yes, yeah.
Like it was so quick, rapid. But in my head, I was like, oh no, she's been stuck in that.
That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I had started to get worried on the inside. But you were fine.
I was fine. I was like, they kept checking the Doppler. I'm like, are they checking with the Doppler that her heart rate was okay? And I was like, are they checking because they're concerned? And in my head, I was like, she's fine. You don't need to check, like, and the whole way through, her heartbeat was steady 140, because I'd asked, what's her heart rate? 140. I'm like, okay, good. And then after a while, they said, you need to get into a different position. And I was really nervous because I'd found this pose that was working. I could manage the sensations. And they said, we want you to come onto your back and take your hands underneath your
knees.
Under your womb.
But you were on your knees.
I was on my knees, in
the pool
and
leaning
under
back.
your womb, and we want you to lean back with the next contraction and pull up. And I was like, okay, and it was so uncomfortable. And those are the photos that you can see. I will share some with you to put on if you want. And those are the faces where I'm like, my face is like, see the grimace, especially. I'm like trying to keep my face off, but the grimace is there. And then we got into the runner's lunge, which was eventually the pose which I ended up being in when she fully came through. And
so can we just explain like to people like why Arlene recommended you do that? So you were pushing and the little one was descending and retracting, descending, retracting as normal. But then that lift of the womb, was that because her head was slightly asynclitic or a brow presentation? Like what did Arlene say was going on there?
I think actually it wasn't Arlene that suggested it. It was the other midwife, Claire, who was a specialist in home birth. And had a lot of good
in optimal positioning as well.
And we actually don't know why they chose that position to start with. I think they said she was maybe a little bit trapped, trying to get
she had to come round a corner.
Under the pubic rim, like under that little pubic.
She needs to come round, and she's struggling to come round it. But we didn't actually find out specifically what it was.
Okay. Let's just try something different. Let's see if we make a bit more progress with a different position.
Yeah, so when things aren't taking, just for people listening, like so when things are taking a bit of time and maybe a little bit longer than normal, that lift of the womb is kind of the same as, reversing or inverting the body as well. It's a bit like just letting the head come up from where it is so that they can maybe reconfigure themselves, tuck their chin a bit and get that back of the head coming through first. So, something, it's like a reversing, just pulling them up a little bit. Maybe I'm not.
That might have been right, actually. And then, because they wanted me to do that, but then they wanted me into the runner's lunge. And I've got
Did you do that in the pool?
We did. We moved into the runner's lunge in the pool, and they were squeezing my hips. I've got very little hips, and Lauren had actually secretly, not shared with me, wondered how I was going to get a baby out because they're so little. And so they were squeezing my hips, I guess.
The top of your hips? Like,
yeah, top of my hips.
So this is an Ina May Gaskin technique where one is on either side and pushing.
Yeah.
So if you think this is the top of the hips and this is the bottom, so pushing at the top, like that, to try and broaden that pelvic outlet. Yeah.
And I have to give a shout out to midwives.
God, what a great midwives you had. Like, just really
incredible. Yeah. Our midwives, all midwives, like, just what a job they do. Like, they're so amazing. Awesome. And doulas, anyone involved in that birthing space is just, just like, we were in awe of our midwives afterwards. We couldn't stop thanking them for just delivering our baby so safely. And having to be so strong to push,
such a physical job. And to be there sometimes for days.
Yeah.
And you found Arlene, she was your crutch, wasn't she?
She really was.
You had ears for her only.
Yeah, if Arlene said something, I did it, and so it was quite funny actually, because Arlene would be like, say something, and then I'm like, am I? Like, she's like, you're doing a good job, Lauren. And I'm like, am I? And she's like, yeah. And everyone else would be like, okay, just say what Arlene says, because like what we're saying is not working. But then Arlene came and she said, we want you to try it on the toilet. So we went back to the toilet again, did that lift where I sat on the toilet, lifted my belly up, really didn't like that, said, can I please do something else? And they said, let's do the runner's lunge. So they turned me around.
You're a bit nervous about getting out of the pool.
I was, yeah. And, I had wanted to give birth in the pool. I'd seen so many beautiful pools, but I wasn't attached to it. I was just like, whatever Arlene says, I'll do. And so we got out and Lauren sat on the toilet and I leaned over her with my foot up on the toilet seat and that runner's lunge. And I was there for a while and pushing quite hard. And at one stage, I think, she'd said, coffee plunger, babe, coffee plunger.
Yeah. Nice.
I can't, but I was mid-contraction. And what I meant, and everyone's like, you can. I was like, waited till the contraction ended. And I was like, no, I know I can. I just can't do the coffee plunger anymore. It won't work. I'm like, I'm doing this. I know I'm doing this, which was good because the whole time beforehand, I was like, I don't actually know if I can do this. I'd had this secret fear that I would end up needing to, have a cesarean because it wouldn't work. And not that there's anything wrong with cesareans, they're helpful in that situation, but and then suddenly I heard Arlene. I was so in it that I couldn't hear. And I had to ask 3 or 4 times, what did you say? And Arlene said, stop pushing. I was like, oh, okay, sorry, what do you want me to do? And she goes, I want you to breathe the baby out. I want you to breathe, tiny little push, breathe, tiny little push. And I was like, oh, is she crowning? And they were like, yeah, she's coming out. And I was like, okay. And so I just did what they said, had that old ring of fire going on. And that's the only time I think I said, I can't, apart from I need to go and get an epidural right at the beginning, was I can't do this is so painful. And they're like, no, you can. I was like, okay, I know that. I think I just needed to say it.
Totally.
And then they're like, the head's out, and everyone's like, she's so beautiful, and I was like, oh, you can't really, like, I don't believe you, like, you can't just say that about some baby that's not out. And they're like, no, the head's out, look down. And I was like, look down, and there was this head, and I was like, oh my God. The whole way through, I'd been forgetting why I was doing this. And I felt a bit bad. About it. I kept saying, can you please remind me about Goldie? Because I'm so in this of what I need to do right now that I couldn't really think about her too much. And then very quickly, she came out. You came out. And then this little thing that was really, she was
not so little,
Really? What size was she?
Not huge, but like she was 9 pounds or 4.1
Nice.
kg.
Impressive, babe.
Yeah, she pushed that out.
I think she was maybe slightly posterior. She had to do that lift again. I think maybe she was a bit posterior or something. I'm not sure. To ask the midwife.
Oh. You got to make some noise. Don't
I know
you?
they often make noise when it's a birth story.
Yeah.
Remembering, they do. It's like it's a remembering of the work because, you know, it's a big journey for them. A lot of squishing. Oh, I know.
She's okay. She's just making herself known. She often does this. There's nothing wrong. You just want to use your voice, eh?
Oh. So did you get that? Did you have an extraordinary feeling? I just remember that time when Leroy's head was out and he's half in my body, half out. Like, wow, that was just so profound to look down and see that. Yeah. And like every woman, I think, particularly in the first birth, they like, oh, I forgot, you know, like there was a child coming. Like I was so involved in this work and this labor that, yeah, you forget there's a little baby coming out at the end, you know.
I think my first words were, oh my God, it's an actual baby. I was like, I wish I'd said something more profound, but I was so shocked. I was like, whoa. And poor Lauren, I'd been roaring in her ear I didn't realize, but I'd been roaring in her ear for the last couple of hours and she was practically deaf. And at one stage they actually said,
Take a break
because Lauren needs a break, not the birthing Lauren, the other Lauren. I was like, what? And I realized, oh, I'm actually on Lauren. You know, I'd been so in it. I'd she was so relieved. Do you want to share why you were relieved? Because you thought something was wrong.
Oh, yeah. When Goldie came out, she squealed straight away. And that's not what you had imagined, had you? Lauren G had expected her to come out quietly and peacefully, meditating.
And now for a quick break. She Births is where science and nature come together. As the only scientifically verified birth education course in the world, we can help you understand nature's intelligent design for birth while learning the most evidence-based birthing skills. We know that by getting to know yourself and by educating your team well now, you will be able to manage more of the challenges ahead with ease and grace. From our free pregnancy guide to our world-class birth education, to our post-birth Soul Mama circles, you can be supported to find the mother within you. Our doula service is bespoke and provides only the best-in-class trained birth support to She Births families. Over 60% of our mums choose a doula in their birthing room, and we know that they will have the best care, best pain relief, and evidence-based support for their empowerment. Go to shebirths.com/doula, DOULA, and book a free 15-minute consultation today to discuss your needs.
And I was just so relieved she didn't do that because I'd listened. It was so helpful for me to listen to and watch the birth stories of She Births, and also in your podcast. In the end, I couldn't get enough stories.
Yeah.
I felt really informed and prepared for sort of all the possibilities because I'd listened and watched so many. And so I knew there were some where babies come out eyes closed, completely quiet, and need to be roused a little bit. And so hearing stories like that, I was like, whoa, I'm so glad I heard that, because if that happened to me without warning, I would be really frightened about what I was witnessing. So I felt intellectually ready for anything. But when Goldie came out, she roared straight away, and it was just such a relief for me that this baby's here and she's breathing and she's alive, because probably the last hour and a half of Lauren's really rapid labor, I had got very scared, which I hadn't been, had I, throughout the 9 months and in the early stages of the labor. I hadn't felt fearful. But in the birth, our birth suite, so many people in the room, and our midwives were wearing masks because of COVID. And so I was constantly trying to look for indication of face,
facial recognitions, and
there's not ongoing commentary from them of what's going on and whether it's good or not.
No.
So I was always looking for the face, and the face is so protected by the mask that all I had was the eyes, and I'd see the midwives get the Doppler out and check for the heart, and with these checks they were getting me really anxious on the inside.
Right.
I was fearful that the checks were because something was wrong, and I was just ready for them to tell us, okay, we've got to get an ambulance here. We're not tracking as well as we should be, and she's in distress. You know, I was in distress as a baby. That was what my birth was. And so I guess I had some
an imprint
around that. And so with every check with the Doppler, I was just hanging to hear the heartbeat, that she's still there, she's still okay. And sometimes there was some challenge in them finding it, wasn't it? Yeah. But they always did, and it was always beautiful and steady when they found it. But those moments before being told that's the heart and it's okay, I was like, oh, the next thing we're going to hear is that she's not okay at all. So there was a period of real fear and worry for me whilst trying to support Lauren G through her contractions. It's very internal. Other than some tears that came out that you sprung, you felt them on your face as well, my tears of fear.
That's right. And I said to her, I go, babe, are you crying? This is in the birth. She's like, it's okay. I said, it's okay, I'm fine, everything's fine. And then I'm like straight back into the next contraction.
She was so fine. It was so reassuring to hear that even though I was afraid, she was not. Lauren G was not.
Which was a bit of a role reversal from how it had been.
So it was a bit of a surprise.
I think it's a really important point that you bring up, Lauren F, because like partners bring their fears into the space as well. Of course, how can you not? And you know, you've just mentioned it briefly, but it's actually a very significant element that comes in is the partner's birthing experience and their imprint, and you're rewiring and processing that in this moment of watching your daughter being born. Of course, you're going to, in the same sense, relive your own, on a cellular level, your own birth. And so unless you're in a space that's really tender and holding and secure and reassuring, like that can amplify, like that can be fed, that fear, in other environments as well. And can be
felt like you needed to be told and reassured that you were okay. That it was okay.
I had this overwhelming urge as we were holding hands on the edge of the pool while she was still in the pool, and I was becoming fearful and really emotional and doing my best to keep it inside. I had this overwhelming urge to say to the midwife, I'm not okay, I need something. But I also knew that this is not the time or place for it to be about me. But that didn't remove the fact that there was some sort of desperation in me for I needed to be soothed. And the soothing came actually inadvertently through Lauren G feeling the tears on my face and asking, are you crying? And then telling me, I'm okay, everything's fine. And that was so transformative for me to hear. And then I was back on the job. When we got to the toilet, I felt at my most useful, because she needed so much physicality at that time, helping her. Her legs were so exhausted and trembling. And in the position I was in, I could lean my legs against hers and help them stay steady. And all I had to do was let her squeeze me as tightly as she needed to. And I thought, yes, now I can use my physicality to support you, which is a space that I feel confident in. So you squeeze as hard as you need to. You scream as loud as you like. I've got it now. And all this is internal. I wasn't any of that. But I felt on the toilet, okay, I'm all right now. I can be here as well as possible for you. And everyone else got to see Goldie before we did, because we were like head to head in this embrace of effort. And people are saying, she's so beautiful, her head's out. And
like, how did they know?
And then you look down and you said, oh my God, babe, it's an actual baby. We were both too scared to reach and touch, and even to take that look, and then to reach down. And
they asked if we wanted to catch, and it had been one of our strong birth preferences that we wanted to catch her, but for some reason neither of us wanted to. We're like, no, you do it. I don't know why. I think I just needed to feel like I was focusing on getting her out finally at the end. And it felt a bit complicated with my arms around Lauren and, being so then
she screamed, and I breathed such a relief. She's here, she's breathing, her heart's beating, she's alive, she made it,
she's happy, she's healthy.
And she went straight to the breast, didn't she?
And I think one thing that I wanted to sorry about that truck noise.
That's all right.
One thing that I wanted to share, because I didn't know that it was a possibility, was that after she was out, I felt so high. Like I was coming down from.
She was the best comedy act. You'd have paid big bucks to witness her in action.
My energy, like I was coming back from somewhere, like out in the universe, and that sounds really esoteric, but I just felt so big that bringing my attention to this little baby, I couldn't bring it back into her. And I was expecting to have this moment where I was like, oh my God, it's my baby and I'm so in love and we'll breastfeed and it'll be so chill and silent, but I was just everywhere else except for with her. And I worried that there was something wrong with me, that my connection to her, that I was causing some sort of problem, but I just couldn't. It was like I was hyperactive, like I'd had 10 cups of coffee, but it's not like that at all, because you just feel amazing from birth hormones. And there was a lot that needed to happen after we'd given birth. They wanted to have that skin to skin time. They wanted to check me out to see if I needed stitches. We needed to birth the placenta. Like there was a lot going on. And we had to move back into the birth suite into the studio out of the bathroom to just be somewhere more comfortable. It was also a very small, cramped space in there. And I had some skin to skin time, but it was like I couldn't focus on Goldie. So they kept on saying, do you want us, we'll birth the placenta, and Lauren G can hold her, and Lauren F, can hold her, and we'll go through that process, or what else? Like, just they were giving me options just to help me ground down and just to get these things out the way so I could be with Goldie and put my attention on her. Go and have a shower, all of that sort of stuff.
Do a wee,
which I could not do. And the beautiful thing about that, I started to feel quite guilty about that quite a few weeks on, when I realized, and I was going back and thinking about how non-present I was with Goldie.
And you were quite fixated on how long did it take me before I held her, before I fed her?
Yeah.
How much time passed? Do you think that was detrimental?
Yeah.
You got worried about it.
Because, you know, you'd heard how important it was to have that time, that skin to skin time. But one of the beautiful things was that Lauren got that skin to skin time with
I
had that good been able to get colostrum before in the last few weeks before the birth, and so they gave her some colostrum. They had her on she had her on her chest.
We had skin to skin. Goldie and I had skin to skin time. She suckled on my finger. I fed her your colostrum that we'd collected.
And in the meantime, you know, I had some grazing on my labia maybe, and they stitched that up, and there was a little internal tear where I got some stitches. And I mean, I was so high they probably could have done it without an anesthetic, to be honest. Like, I just wanted to come back into the room. And so once all of that stuff was done, I mean, she was born at 2:05, sorry, and I think we got into bed at 7 a.m. Like, there was a lot of things happening. And then she was on my chest, they got me into bed, and I was suddenly, that was when I landed with her, and I was like, oh, here she is, she's ours, this is so beautiful. We quickly told the grandparents and Ross, and then Lauren went to sleep. I just stayed awake and just stared at
staring.
She'd been up for 24 hours and didn't have the hormones, so she had been, you know,
totally
physically used to help.
I wanted to stare at her and my body,
but she
needed a rest.
So, and a friend of ours had said that, you know, it's going to be hard for you because you know, the birth mum's got all the hormones, but you'll be wrecked, so just rest as much as you can when you can. And then that's when I had that moment. But I wanted to bring that up because for quite a long time after the birth, I just felt awful, like, what's wrong with me, that it took me so long to really connect with her properly. And I think for some people, I think probably that can just happen. I'm probably an extreme case of it, but I didn't know it could happen, that it was kind of natural and it was fine to feel that high from the birth.
Yeah, I think you had an amplified experience. You know, your body from all the years, and your mind, your brain, your nervous system has been primed for bliss and has dropped into bliss. Those hormones of transcendence, the beta endorphins that come through meditation. You know, you're in a loving, you know, woman relationship, same sex, and I think that amplifies oxytocin as well. And you had lots of women around you, which brings oxytocin even higher, and you were in a very safe space. You had a natural, normal, physiological birth, but then post-birth, it's an ecstatic state. So frontal lobe completely shut down with those endorphins and all that oxytocin, and it's very cosmic. And it's beyond cosmic, right? It even, you know, it becomes like this, I think, a universal kind of, I don't know, consciousness state. I don't know how you measure it. You guys would know that more. But I just, that combined with the vata as well, I think it's profound. And things do happen the way they're meant to happen, like they really do. The fact that Lauren F got to have lots of skin on skin, and that, you know, what a blessing as well, right? So I don't know, I'm just taking it that way.
It's really helpful. Definitely makes me feel like it was even better. But so that was our beautiful birth, and
I love it.
One of the things that we wanted was a supported postpartum, so we had Megan and Bri stay for another week after, and Bri stayed for 2 weeks actually, and it was really like a little village. It was so nice, and we felt a lot of grief when they went home, though by the time Bri went home after 2 weeks, we were feeling like, we can do this now. And we also hired a postpartum doula, and she's an Ayurvedic postpartum doula, which is now what we're really into, and she's just like beautiful, hasn't had kids yet herself, but just an amazing kind of, you know, born to be this person, to be in this birthing space, and just come. She's still coming.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. We unfortunately got COVID really early on. We'd been trying so hard. We'd been in isolation for so long. We couldn't believe, no one was coming around because we were doing 40 days of being just with our little crew. And somehow we caught COVID, probably from a supermarket trip or something.
Yeah.
And then we unfortunately gave COVID to our doula. And so we had a period without her, which was quite challenging, and without any support. Probably about 3.5 weeks in, maybe. And we recovered. And then she came back, and so she would come in and she'd be with us for 4 hours and cook us a meal and like make some lactation cookies or something, and then hold the baby so I could have a shower and just hold the washing.
And she was such good company.
Yeah.
Conversational.
It's that normalizing as well, I think, all those little conversations, those incidentals, and that acknowledgement of what you're doing and how Goldie's doing. That village again, right?
Beautiful. And the first thing she does when she comes in is we sit down and say, how's it been the last couple of days? Talk through everything. So because my family are mostly in Wellington, and Lauren's family and our friends as well are in Sydney, we don't have the same support network here. So it was really important to us that we had that. And that we were like, if we can't create it, let's just pay for it, So that was a big thing that we wanted. And it's been a real blessing. She's been really helpful, and we really feel like we're finding our feet as a result of that, and kind of graduating soon from that, which will be good too. So yeah, that was our experience. We also had we have my mum's ashes here. Lauren painted a beautiful box for it, and we've got our family later this year are going to go on the anniversary of the death and sprinkle it in a special place that's important to us. But I asked my siblings if it was okay if we take some of Mum's ashes, because in New Zealand and the Maori culture, it's very traditional to bury the placenta back into Papa Tuinuku, back into the earth mother.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine had gifted me a voucher to go and buy a beautiful flower, a plant, and a pot, because we don't own the place that we're living in at the moment, so we wanted to be able to take that with us. So gardenias are my mum's favorite flower, and we just had a really special time while Megan was still here, and put on my mum's playlist that she listened to in the hospital, and her favorite song is Fields of Gold. And so we listened to that.
Eva Cassidy version.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, that song.
Yeah. And it seemed fitting because we have our little Goldie. And so we buried the placenta with some of Mum's ashes into her beautiful pot with the gardenia, which felt really special, like there was something of them together. And that was quite meaningful for us. And so it's good to have those little ceremonies.
So important. Rituals just so important to signify the sacredness of this whole journey. And often just the intention of she births is not just education to help people feel empowered, but it's to help restore the sacredness back to this process of parenting, of loving, of relating, and to help people awaken to the intelligence, natural intelligence, but the sacredness, restore the sacredness. And I just love that people are doing that now. So many people are, and you guys have done it beautifully.
And I have to say, like, I joined the Soul Mama Circle, the online one, obviously, and that has been so incredible as well. It's such a beautiful thing that you've set up, because those ladies are just absolute gems, and the facilitator Leah, amazing. But I honestly was naive about what becoming a mother would be. And, I just thought, okay, we'll pop out a kid and, definitely surrender to her needs, but we'll just get on with life, and not realizing that there's this huge change that takes place inside of you, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual. And that matrescence journey through the Soul Mama Circle, we've literally just finished yesterday, and we're going to continue on. I needed that. I was so desperate for connection, to talk through the birth story, to dive into these deeper topics rather than just talking about breastfeeding or like the everyday stuff, which you do need assistance with, and it's good to chat to other mums about, but actually diving deeper. And so that's been so powerful, and I do really recommend for women to join that, because it's made a huge impact for me moving into that mothering role. And we'd talk through the topics each week.
Oh, beautiful.
Which was great. I'm like, this is the topic for this week, and we'd talk about how we were feeling about the various things. And
love hearing that.
And I think just one other thing, her dad's coming 2 days away, so the borders are finally opening, and he's coming to finally meet her. He's coming to stay with us, which is really exciting. But you and I, all three of us, were talking just before about, with same-sex couples, about what's appropriate and not appropriate to ask. And because our situation is quite I guess unique. It's not completely unique. There are other same-sex mums couples mums that do this, but we purposely chose to bring to have this very dynamic 3-parent relationship where Ross is her dad, not her donor. But for a lot of same-sex parents, it's not usually that appropriate to say who's the dad. It's like, actually they don't have a dad. We're the parents, we're the mums.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the donor has given us the sperm, or maybe
and I've heard stories of people asking it in front of the children.
Yeah.
It's just completely inappropriate. Wouldn't ask anything about somebody else's fertility journey or family, structure, certainly not in front of kids. So I think it is really important.
Yeah, and also the process. There's something I think about being in a same-sex couple or a rainbow couple of any kind, where people feel like it's okay to ask how you got pregnant. And I just think that's an inappropriate question for anyone. I have somebody say, so did you have sex with him? And I'm like, I'm married, like I'm in a loving relationship. I'm not, and it also none of your business. Like, so, that was during her pregnancy, when we kind of were wanting to make the celebration about the baby, not about the interesting story. And the slightly different story. But so it's really good to be careful, and not careful, but mindful of.
I think it's about engaging the deepest empathy that you can find. As a question asker, if I was in those 2 mums' shoes, how would I feel about someone inquiring about the way I got pregnant, or who is the baby's donor or dad? If we can achieve empathy and imagine what the experience is like for someone else, then we avoid offensive questions or disrespectful conversation or inappropriate timing. I think.
Beautiful.
But also, I appreciate what a minefield it can be for the others who witness something that to them is very different, very new, very fascinating, entertaining, and the compulsion to know more, for the most part, comes from a good place.
Yeah.
And it's tricky to tread lightly and get it right. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
But sprinkling some empathy in there would help. And of course we've learned from that how to empathize with others' situations, how to tread carefully ourselves when exploring someone else's journey.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's good to share those comments. Thank you. So what would you say to a pregnant family out there, people who are pregnant, not knowing what to do during their pregnancy, prepare for birth? Is there any little messages you want to share as a little summary to families out there?
Do she births.
Yeah. Thank you. And I just have to say, you are the couple that has harassed me the most to share she births. So thank you for that. I love that. I really appreciate that. Because I didn't record that at the beginning, that conversation. But yeah, you were saying, that you wanted more people to know about it because you've known about she births for ages.
Yeah.
We've talked for a long time about this. So.
And to finally do it and to be like, because I'd promoted it to all my students, all my friends for such a long time. And now I'm like, oh yeah. And now I know it's really good because I've done it myself. I know how good it is. I knew it was good before, but I was like, this is the ticket. And you're so amazing at how you present it. Like you could just listen to you for hours on the call. It's so great. And just, your attention doesn't get lost for a moment because we were talking about it weren't we, about how great you were at facilitating it. But I think
if from the non-birthing parent perspective, one of the big things that she births gave me was acknowledgement of how relevant and important and critical my role is. I didn't know that until we pressed play on your sessions.
Wow, I love hearing that.
I just thought, I underestimated the entire thing. This, how sacred pregnancy, labor, and birth is. That it's not just something to be got through, that there's so much more available within it to grow and learn and just experience awe and wonder over. But it was only a few minutes into the first She Births online session where I was like, oh, I wasn't even going to do this. I was going to let her do it. And thank God I didn't, because it's starting to dawn on me that I need to show up here and I need to be ready. And right now I'm not. And this is just in time learning for me. To hear the other birth stories and watch the mums talk about their partner and how needed they were, I was like, oh God, I don't want to be the one who the mum doesn't have anything nice to say about post-birth. I've got to get in gear here. And it was because of the course that getting on board was magnetizing. I couldn't not, after realizing I have a responsibility here, and it's a huge one.
Yeah.
And I want to be part of this thing. I don't want to be just an onlooker and a witness. I want to be involved. And She Births just drew me right in from the get-go. I had been sort of not disengaged, but you had done so much research and so much reading for those months prior. And I'd set up the nursery, and that was therapeutic for me, but I hadn't learned anything. She Births was it just blew the top off my head. I had come in as a non-understander of home births. And, the biggest thing, I can't not mention it, is in one of your podcasts, which I just went mental for, once I finally got on board, I was a podcast a day at least from your channel. And you interviewed a lady who, you'll forgive me for forgetting her name, based in the UK. I think she was the lady who does the birth scripting. And
Peter Kelly. Right.
And you both talked about this book called The Continuum Concept.
Yeah, that's a wild book. That's awesome.
And you didn't talk much about the content because you were both so blown away by it that you didn't need to talk about the content when you're in conversation with one another. And you were both just, this is the best book ever. And I could feel it. And I just knew I don't know what this book is, but I have to read it. And I bought it that day. We were about 3 weeks from Goldie's birth, 3 to 4 weeks. And I read The Continuum Concept, and my whole approach to parenting was flipped on its head.
Yeah.
It just resonated. It was just what I needed, just in time. And it was facilitated through you and She Births that we landed on that knowledge when we needed it. Hey?
Yeah, the Continuum Concept is a book of remembering, isn't it? Mm. It's that book of remembering the way that we have loved and raised our children since the beginning of time, and everything sort of post-industrial revolution and post sort of the Christian patriarchal kind of overarching paradigms. Everything else is kind of got to be inverted, flipped around, like you say, turned on its head, because it's a lot of it's just rubbish and not helpful at all. Yeah.
It was super helpful. I didn't read it. I just got a summary each night.
Yeah.
From Lauren, which was enough. And we've taken that approach with her.
We talk about it daily.
Yeah,
still.
It was really helpful. Yeah.
I mean, the Vedic approach to parenting is another conversation to have as well. You know, we could have that at another time.
It's already quite long.
Let you get further down the road as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Main thing which you talked about in the course with our approach with her is that we know that she chose us rather than us just randomly having some baby come through. And our role as parents is just to allow her to thrive and evolve and to achieve what she needs to achieve rather than putting anything on that. And there's a surrender to her that's come, I was surprised, but come quite naturally, a devotion to her and a surrender that's been quite easy for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
With letting go of, you know, our attachment to getting anywhere on time or doing anything that we want to do. If it's not fitting in with her, I mean, we're very privileged that we can do that with our lifestyle, but where we can just surrender to what her needs are. And it's meant that parenting, I mean, I guess caring for her, because we don't really have to do much parenting at the moment, but it's been pretty smooth, and she's been a pretty happy baby as a result of it. She's probably a happy baby anyway, but it's all that meditation throughout the pregnancy and post-pregnancy, I think, helps as well. So I think meditating is definitely the other big thing that I would say to parents, because whatever stress that you're bringing into a situation, that's going to ultimately, without stressing you out about it, is going to have an imprint on your child, or is going to stop you from having maybe success with your fertility or whatever. So if we can get rid of stress and access that deep calm state, then that's going to set you up well for whatever it is that you achieve, you know.
Yeah, it's going to only help things. It can't certainly hinder, that's for sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you both, and thank you, Goldie, for letting your mummies share your story of how you wanted to come into the world. So special. I wish I was in Auckland now. It's just so beautiful over there right now. The light coming in, and
We're so grateful. Actually, on behalf of the world, the world is so grateful for you and what you've built in She Births.
Yeah.
It is top notch.
Yeah.
And not just She Births. Sometimes I try and contemplate what it took to put this together, and it's too big. It's too big for me to understand. So we try and appreciate the amount of time and study and experience that you've brought to this program, and it's too big to understand. Know that that's appreciated, even though we can't fully feel it. And
the space you hold as well. It's a huge space to hold for people.
And you do it beautifully.
Yeah.
And also what you've continued to do in these times in the Northern Rivers, what you're giving to mums, parents, to the community that is struggling. It's for that we want to say the world thanks you too.
Aww.
It's very, very special.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for seeing it and feeling it and for sharing it. Yeah. And just meeting it. I think there were many lifetimes that kind of brought me to this point.
Yeah.
It was just choiceless, rendered choiceless. I knew it was going to be so much hard work at the beginning of She Births. It's like, no, this is going to be really hard at times, but like I feel like I have to do it. Just have to do it. It's just like, like labor.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, exactly, like birth. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I'll let you go and enjoy your beautiful anniversary. Yeah, your wedding anniversary today. Are you going for a special lunch?
Yeah.
Time to go. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.
Darling, lots of love.
Bye. Lots of love.
I'm Nadine Richardson, and you've been listening to the She Births Show. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. We'd love to know what you would like to hear more of. You can find me and my team of amazing doulas and educators at shebirths.com and our awesome community on Instagram and Facebook. Within any good app store, you can download our free pregnancy guide via She Births, 2 separate words and plural, as well as access a range of online courses. Remember, when it comes to having a better birth, an easier transition into parenthood, your education is your empowerment. Don't forget to check out the catalogue of previous podcasts, and thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the show.